Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Welcome to Accelerated Health Radio and TV. I'm your host, Sarah Banta. I'm a health coach, natural supplement expert, and a busy mom of 3 teenagers. I believe that your body does want to and is capable of rebuilding and healing itself, regardless of what chronic disease you may have. And I'm here for you to answer your questions, bring you innovative and cutting-edge technology and health solutions to empower you and your ability to reach your optimal state of health. Today, my guest will be talking about consciousness surrounding time and money and how to increase our frequency, which you know I love to do. In order to live at that higher level of frequency, you really need that strong physical foundation to work on your mental and spiritual growth, whether it's overcoming anxiety or depression, losing weight, or detoxing the body in the proper way. You need that strong physical foundation to gain the willpower to make the bigger changes in your life. If you're new to following me, I specialize in helping you get there. You can find my articles, cutting-edge natural supplements that are frequency enhanced, devices and protocols, all at my website, acceleratedhealthproducts.com. I dive into an array of health conditions, their causes and symptoms, and how to address them naturally. And if you email me directly, I personally read every one. Accelerated Health Products is the sponsor of the show. So as you support my website, I'm able to bring you more cutting edge content and guests to this show. So again, today we're going to be diving in on how to optimize your time and money vibes. So first I wanted to talk about my monthly free group coaching that comes with the Accelerated Ascent Diet Cleanse that will give you the mental and physical reset to be able to live at that higher level of frequency. It's the most comprehensive cleanse I've had, and the groups that have gone through, they're blowing me away, their results. Easy fat loss for those stubborn pounds, increased and sustained physical and mental energy, getting rid of PCOS and increasing fertility, better bowel movements, decreased appetite, and the ability to intermittent fast for up to 22 hours. I've had people even fast up to 3 days who had chronic disease. And the healing power, it was so amazing. Better sleep, clearer skin, whiter eyes, less moodiness, which we all need, increased cellular permeability, which means the health of the cells, which is what we're made of, successful flushing, gallstones and liver stones out of the body safely, and a deeper understanding of how your body naturally heals itself. Our bodies are a miracle. We don't need medication. We just need to let our bodies heal itself. The difference between me and any other group coaching is I provide the most cutting edge frequency enhanced supplements that work synergistically with each other, and your body doesn't experience those flu-like symptoms that usually come with detoxification. You feel great day one. Leave a comment below if you're interested, or check it out on the website at acceleratedhealthproducts.com. Now to the good stuff. Jackie Woodside is a best-selling author, TEDx speaker, expert guest on television and radio, coach, and trainer. She's the founder of the curriculum for Conscious Living and the Conscious Living Summit, and trains coaches around the world to deliver this life-changing work. She's a certified professional coach and licensed psychotherapist with 30 years experience in both fields. She also has authored 3 best-selling books and 25 training curriculums. Welcome, Jackie. How are you this morning?
Hey, I'm happy. Good to see you. And thanks so much for having me here.
I love that. Every time you say that, it just makes me happy. It's infectious. And it goes down to the basis of what we're going to be talking about today on how we are all one, right? And the frequency and the vibe between people is just infectious.
It's everything. It's absolutely everything. Your vibe attracts your tribe, right? So people say that it's a social greeting for us, right? How are you? And so I've just made it part of my spiritual practice. Make your life a living prayer. That's a whole other topic we'll get into. But part of my spiritual practice, making my life a living prayer, is to just, use that affirmation when people say, "Hey, how are you?" To just affirm, "I am happy." So I was at the post office a few weeks ago, and the clerk, she's doing her thing, right? The people are coming through. "Hi, how are you? How are you?" And so she says, "Hi, how are you?" And I was like, "I'm happy." And she looked up, right? She looked up and she's like, "I love that." And I said, "Well, look, we always have a choice. I've been happy. I've been sad. Happy's better. So why not?" She's like, "I just can't, I just love that." And we have our little exchange. And, I went on into my businesses. And as I'm walking out of the lobby, I hear her say to the guy next to me, "Did you hear what that lady said? Did you hear what she said? I'm going to say that from now on. People ask me how I'm going to say I'm happy." So it just, part of my commitment in life is to raise consciousness on the planet, raise the vibe on the planet. And in that little exchange, I had the opportunity to lift that lady's vibe. Now, similarly, if I can go on with it, here we go. Love Bug the cat. Here's my voice and has to be with me. So Everin, say hello. Welcome, Love Bug the cat. Whenever I do podcasts. So it's Jackie and Love Bug. So this morning I get up and I'm looking forward to my day. I have my quiet time and I go to grab, this is so funny. I go to grab my computer because I'm on a podcast today, right? So I go to grab my computer and start my day. And my son has walked off with my computer charger because he's a teenager and he loses his all the time. And so I specifically had it plugged in, in an obvious location because I knew I needed it this morning. I wanted it plugged in overnight. I told him yesterday, my computer's getting old. It's not holding a charge as well. And yes, he walks off with it, takes it to school this morning. So let's just say I was not in the highest vibe, right? I was a little ticked and I was very ticked. Felt like he was being selfish. I was mad that it was messing with my day. So I got some things done and I was just like, no, I'm not going to try to save my battery. I'm just going to go to Best Buy and, $40 solution. I'll get this thing handled. So I go over to Best Buy and I walk in and they're like, "Okay, what do you need?" And I tell them exactly, show them my computer. I said, "I need this power cord." And this lovely light energy gal comes over. She's like, "Oh, I can get that for you. Come with me." She's like, "How are you today?" And I said, "Well, I'm normally happy, but I'm so pissed off at my son because I'm over here and I'm blah, blah. She's like, "I so get it. But look, we're going to get you taken care of." I was in and out of that store in 5 minutes. I was like, she completely changed my vibe. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I stopped before I left and I said, I just have to tell you, kindness is the answer to everything.
Mm. It really is.
Kindness is the answer to everything. She could have been like, wah, 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 doing my bit, doing my job, getting this lady what she needs. But she was making eye contact. She was laughing with me about my son. And immediately my frequency and my vibration changed. So it's true. Instant by instant by instant moments that we can make a difference in the world. And that's why I love what you do, that you talk about frequency and vibration, you bring it into the health field. Oh, makes my day.
Wonderful. Well, I agree. When you walk in and you hear a salesperson that just catches you off guard, that is happy, I always recognize them. And I say, "I just want you to know that you've just turned my day around."
You've made a difference for me. Yeah.
Yes. And it reminds me of when my third child was born. Her name's Kiana, but I actually called her Happy. And it's an odd name to call a child. But every time you look at her, whether she was smiling or sleeping or even just gassy, whatever, she looked like she was happy.
Oh,
and it
wow.
just made me happy just being around her. And she
just
still has
her, right?
Yep. And it's so infectious. And especially now, this time of the, the world is going chaotic and it's really hard to dismantle the conscious fear that we are surrounded by. To fight that, you need to work a little harder at being happy, right?
Yeah, I like to say, Sarah, that we can't control what's happening around us. Nowhere on your or my vision board for these last few years was there survive and endure a worldwide pandemic, right? With just epic proportions of impact on our economy and the health systems. And I mean, it's just been incredible. I've lost loved ones. I'm sure you have as well. So nowhere did we say that was going to happen. Nowhere did we say there was going to be a major economic downturn. Like this, what we can't control what's happening out there. And I like to say the only thing that we can have some say over is our vibration.
Yeah.
We have some say over our vibration. Even when I was driving to the Best Buy this morning, all ticked off at my son, I did laugh at myself and said to myself, or to my dog who was listening, first world problems, Jack.
Right.
First world problems. Like you have a computer, you have a home to go back to, you have work that you like, first world problems. So I like to say that everyone has circumstances.
Right.
But whether or not you have problems is up to you and your vibration.
Right. Well, for the audience, them hearing you talk about raise your vibration or live in this happy state, they might think, well, she's not suffering from depression or anxiety. She doesn't know what I'm going through. So I would like for you.
Did you read my bio, Sarah?
Right. So I would love for you to tell the audience what your background is and where you've come from.
Yeah. Thank you for asking. That is so, so important because I do now live in a very high vibe and have work that I love. I'm the happiest married person that I know. I have a cat that, I adore and a dog that's precious and my son who, when I'm not ticked off at him, just lights my world. Right. So, people can easily look at me and be like, well, that's easy for you to say, Jackie. So what the other side of that, what I also like to share with people is that I do have quite a significant psychiatric history, actually. I was even written up in a psychiatric journal once.
Wow.
I was, yeah. So I grew up like all of us grew up, right? So my mom lost her husband and her son, and my grandmother lost her two sons, a grandson and her husband, all within 9 months of each other. So I was between 2 and 3 years old when all that happened. So the trauma in my early life of just unexpected death after death, all car accidents except for my brother who died as an infant, just one, after another. And we all know, we understand today the impact of trauma on the brain. So that left me that and, whatever other things that my mom deciding how she was going to deal with her trauma through alcohol and rage. But, she did the best she could. She's got 3 kids with a high school education, no husband, and a child that had just died. She had her hands full. So that led me into, a life of addiction. So I've recovered. I do depart from the 12 steps that says, that say I am recovering. I say I am recovered. Today, by the grace of God, I am recovered from addictions. Depression. I was on medication for depression and anxiety, PTSD, ADHD. I was on meds for ADHD. Love that shit. That's just good stuff right there, that ADD meds. But I also decided I didn't want to live my life on pharmaceuticals. Nothing wrong with it. Lots of people do. I just wanted to live inside of an experiment that says, can we use our mind to heal our body? And so I created my course on time that over 2 to 3 years got me off my ADHD medications. And then I say my course on time, Calming the Chaos, got me off my ADHD meds. And my course on life, called the Life Design Course, got me off my antidepressant medication. So I haven't been on medication in 10 years.
Good for you.
Yeah, and I'm happy and centered and grounded. Look, it doesn't mean life doesn't have its its way with me sometimes. My mom has dementia. My son is a teenager and has gone through just what every teenager has gone through during this pandemic with anxiety and depression and withdrawal. And, he's really struggled. So it's not, my life is just like everybody else's life. And yet, thank God for what I teach. Because what I teach isn't just what I teach, it's who I am. It's become who I am. And that raises my vibration, raises my consciousness. So, no matter, I really do say no matter what it is that you're facing, I've been there. I had a really nice career as a clinical social worker. I was a director of an inpatient psychiatric program, well-known, well-respected. I had a clinical private practice. I made decent money. And yet I had this calling to do this work, to teach and speak and go into consciousness studies. And so I closed my practice and left my job. And, it was the roughest couple of years of my life. Went back into a depressive episode. I was so scared. I had no idea what I was doing. And here I am, right? So it's astounding how different life is when you live your life through the lens of energy and vibration rather than through circumstance and psychology.
Absolutely. I mean, whenever one of my children go through a struggle or a challenge, and all three of my kids, like your son, have had periods where they're really suffering this last year, and I take them aside and I go, I'm really excited for you. God is doing something special. You are learning a life lesson right now,
Right?
how to get out and to appreciate the good times and to really understand your feelings or whatever it is. And maybe we don't know what you're supposed to learn right now, but you're doing a lot of work. And I remember with my one daughter, I said to her, I said, you're learning a lesson that I had to wait till my 30s to learn.
Right.
And you get to learn it when you're a teenager. This is amazing. You're going to be set up for this awesome life. And it's going to be, you'll be able to deal with your ups and downs much easier. I know people that have been enabled and given everything in their life. They don't have the lows. So they don't understand or appreciate the highs. They don't strengthen that muscle. And it is a muscle. I mean, whether you're working on your physical health, right, through diet and supplements and exercise, it takes work. It just doesn't come. I mean, I would eat pizza and ice cream every day if it made me feel good, right? Why would we ever give it up?
Why not? Yeah, it's delicious.
Right? So there are consequences to our behaviors physically, mentally, and spiritually, and they're all connected. Let's go, before we get into money, I wanted to get into time.
Yeah.
And because
I love talking about it. It's great.
This is something that I struggle with because I'm a working mom. I want to be extremely present for my kids, especially now because they need me every step of the way. And I've got one that's going off to college next year, so I'm appreciating every
Congratulations. Yeah.
And then, of course, I want to be a very present wife and making sure that role is, I'm doing my very best and getting the most out of that relationship. And then I love my work. And like you, because I do this every day, it's a reminder to stay in a higher frequency and so that I can help others. And when I see the joy on my clients and their progress, it just feeds me and fills my heart. And doing things like this and speaking to people like you, it will turn my day around today. I know I'm going to have an amazing day because I started it out with you. So, but with all of that said, we are told we only have 24 hours in a day. And something that I've been playing with is just in my mind, expanding my day, saying, well, no, I need an extra hour. I need 25 hours today. Let's see if I can consciously create it so that I get everything done in a peaceful, relaxed manner. But I'm on target. So I'd love your take on time and time management and the consciousness around it.
It's beautiful. Yeah, thank you. So it's similar, exactly. We're in the exact same boat, taking care of our bodies, our families, our spouses, our homes, our kids, and our careers. It's a full-time job, right? Like my spouse and I say to each other all the time, life is a full-time job. So, and still, so you said my thoughts on time management and the consciousness around it. So let's just start there. Fundamental first thing I teach is there is no such thing as time management. So just sit with that for a minute, right? There is no such thing as time management. Why do I teach that? Why is that central to my teaching? Well, you and I could sit here for this 50 minutes together and, right? We could do nothing. We could be completely disengaged, which the 50 minutes is going to pass. Or we could get actively engaged, talking about new ideas, sharing our thoughts and our teachings about these things, and the 50 minutes will pass. So the 50 minutes that we're together is not the variable. The 24 hours we have each day is not the variable. Whether it's, you and I doing our careers, or, Bill Gates running multiple companies, Elon Musk running multiple companies, or the guy or gal sitting on the stoop, in the downtown area, kind of up to nothing. We all have that same resource of 24 hours. That is not a variable. So what is the variable? The variable is you. So what I teach is not time management, but energy management. Learning to manage your energy through self-management of not your time, but your tasks, your values, your commitments, and delivering your mission. So for me, how you use your time, again, going back to this phrase, make your life a living prayer. How you use your time, to me, is a fundamental spiritual practice. So how do I operationalize that? How do I make that real? How do I make managing myself in time? That's the phrase I use, manage myself in time. How do I make managing myself in time a spiritual practice? Well, one of the things I do, this is so OCD, I color code my schedule according to my core values. So I can look at my schedule any given week and see, am I expressing and engaging with all of my core values around well-being, family time, career, / self-expression, and home life. So those are the 4 areas that I color code around. And that's one of the ways that I just really get present to how am I using my time. The second thing that I do to manage my energy and vibration around this is, most people, what they put on their calendar, if they even keep one, on their schedule, is face-to-face appointments. So, Sarah and I have a podcast, put that on my calendar. But what I put on my calendar is literally everything I need and want to do. So the whole of me is expressed through how I'm planning and organizing my life. In my book, Calming the Chaos, I call my calendar, my schedule, my sacred contract. Again, take that in a little bit, right? So it's, where's my schedule? Or even worse, my to-do list, which is a whole other thing I teach, don't keep one. But, here's my schedule versus, here's my sacred self-expression. Here's my sacred contract, my agreement between my physical self and my higher self of how I'm going to be in the world, what I'm going to deliver, how I'm going to engage with life. So planning out my weeks according to my days, my weeks, my months, my years, if you will, according to who I am and what I value, is a critical component of how I manage myself in time. So why do I say that to-do lists are a setup for failure or to not use them? What most people do is there are all these tasks, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. And their to-do list is this long. But they go to their schedule and their available time, not in meetings or commuting or taking care of the kids, is really like this big. But they have this long, I have to do this, I have to do this. And they never really put it together that they don't fit. Therefore, they walk around with a chronic sense of failure. What's the matter with me? Why don't I get things done? I should be more like Jackie. She probably gets it all done. We compare ourselves. We talk negatively to ourselves. We have a low vibe about ourselves. So rather than this very long to-do list, I love having a structure, everything that you have to do, just located in time, so that you can actually see, I don't really have time for those 15 items today. I can put 5 of them in time and then 2 more tomorrow and the rest by the end of the week. So those are some of the things. I could go on. This is a topic I love talking about, this spiritual component, the consciousness vibratory component of how you are managing yourself in time, which is very different than time management.
I love that. I just love that. And as you were talking, I just got this calmness about me because I do have it my to-do list. And You're right. At the end of the day, I'm thinking about the things that I didn't get done, not the things that I accomplished.
Right.
And I do try to sit back and go, no, I got all of this done. And it's not just about the things you got done per se, check off the list, but how do I feel? Am I managing my stress? Something that I've really had to work on myself is keeping that internal peace and not letting the chaos from the external world take down my physical health. Because I'm doing all the right things with diet and supplements and exercise, and I try to, I do my meditations, all of that, but I still was letting the external stresses affect my physical health. And then there was these expressions of stress on my body. And I thought to myself, well, this is not okay with me, because I do way too much work on my physical and mental health to have this take me down, this stress down. So what I've done is just really try to shut that out, control what I can control and let go of the chaos that's around me. And then sometimes, I'm a type A personality, so I want to get a ton done during the day.
Me too, yeah.
Right? And so that time management, or manage your time, is a topic that I'm, working on. And
Sarah, I really want you to take on just, today, because we had this conversation, rather than managing your time, just shift one word and start thinking to yourself, how am I managing myself? How am I managing myself in time? How am I managing myself in relation to time and tasks and to-dos? We're living in the technology era. Our neurology has not kept up with technology.
No.
It just hasn't. So we are not neurologically prepared for the pace of life that we are living in, for the amount of information that's coming towards us, toward what's available to us every single second of every day. We are not neurologically programmed for that yet. The coming generations will be. We're seeing the changes already. We're the hallway generation, if you will. There's no going back to the pre-technology era, but we haven't gone through the doorway yet neurologically to have that experience of being caught up neurologically. So we are under this kind of chronic chaos, and that's why I say calming the chaos. We're under this chronic sense of too much to do, and it's just too much. That's a phrase that people say. So I really want to invite you, just for today, instead of saying, am I managing my time, which is an external, right? Our culture is so externally driven. You drank the Kool-Aid on that one. We're so externally focused. DVD players, or what do they have in the cars now? Screens that you can hook up to your phone and watch Netflix in the backseat of the car. Like, for real, players that you can hang in your shower. You can't even take a shower without having some kind of external focus. Bring it back over here. How am I managing myself in time? When we were going through some of that difficulty with my son, I recognized that I was like angst, and but when I would come back to okay, that's what's happening out there. What's happening in here? And bring myself back to a level of consciousness that was beyond survival, beyond stress, and really living transformed, transcendent. That's what's happening out there. I can only ever be responsible for and in control of what's happening in me. It's a subtle but dynamic change.
Yes. Well, just as you're talking, I can feel my whole body just kind of deflate, and deflate in a good way, just the calmness. Yeah. Well, we need to take a quick, short commercial break. And when we come back, I want to talk about money and the vibe about money. So we'll be right back here with Jackie Woodside on Accelerated Health Radio and TV. Welcome back to Accelerated Health Radio and TV. I'm here with Jackie Woodside. We're talking about time and money. Jackie, let's talk about the vibe around money. And what does that mean? You know, people have such a strange relationship with money. Sometimes it's healthy, sometimes it's not. What does it even mean to have a healthy relationship with money? So let's dive into it.
Yeah, sure. So let's first talk about how I define the vibe or consciousness itself, right? Because exactly as you said, people have a lot of different understandings about this. So I get really just practical and concrete. I define your money vibe or your consciousness as the vibratory pattern created by your beliefs, by your emotions, your attitudes, and your thoughts. So your inner domain of beliefs, emotions, attitudes, and thoughts create a vibration. Now, if you notice, that actually creates a little acronym, B-E-A-T. Your beat creates your vibe that creates your life. Beliefs, emotions, attitudes, and thoughts. So what do I mean? There's a vibratory pattern to it. If we were to hook you up, right, to an EEG, and we show you troubling or disturbing images, your brainwaves have a certain pattern. And then we show you beautiful images, or we lead you into a guided meditation, your brainwaves literally change. That patterning externalizes itself so that when you and I meet, Sarah, it's like immediately there's like this, I just like that chick. I don't really know what's up with her. I just really like her vibe. We use that language all the time. And then as you talk and you get to know each other, you recognize you have similar values, you have similar perceptions of the world. You have similar habits. So your vibe attracts your tribe. But the science behind that is your brain waves and your heart chakra or your emotional energy creates a vibration around you. Science now shows that the heart energy is actually 500 times stronger than your mental energy. So the vibration created by your emotional world. Now think about it, right? You come in, you go into the office maybe, and somebody looks a little preoccupied. You might notice them preoccupied mentally, right? They're focused on something, but you don't feel that. Versus you walk into a meeting room or the office and people are like tense and there's this energy. You can feel it very quickly. They say it was so tense you could cut it with a knife. You've heard that expression before?
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about your vibe, I'm talking about the vibratory pattern of your beliefs, emotions, attitudes, and thoughts, okay? So then let's map that onto money. I ask people all the time in workshops or in classes, what do you most often say about money? And 90% of the time, people say something like, I wish I had more, or I don't have enough. So we could say that the prevailing vibe in our culture about money is scarcity, insufficiency, anxiety, and lack. So just feel for yourself, right? And even those of us who are doing well financially, or are solidly middle class, not worrying about every bill that might come in, able to spend extra money on supplements and things like that, holistic healthcare. It's still a driving force. And Jacob Needleman, American philosopher, says money is the main driving force of contemporary culture today. And when I first read that, I put that quote in my book, my Money Vibe book. When I first read that, I was like, oh, no, that can't be so. Like love is the main driving force, or, all these, very high vibe thoughts and feelings. And then I was like, you know what? It's absolutely right. Wars start over money. The political divide is very largely centered around acquiring money, getting money, who has money. It's a really important and central part of our culture. So if money is the main driving force of contemporary culture today, your vibe about money in relationship to money is a central driving force of your life. So there's two ways that I come at this. One is, the more you have a low money vibe, the more you're going to struggle with life in general, because money is a main driving force. You have a low vibe about a main driving force, your life itself will be filled with stress, anxiety, scarcity, and lack. So there's that. And then I say, as you intentionally raise your vibe about money, here's the really cool thing. Money comes to you more easily.
Yes.
So I would actually, I didn't mention this in my earlier intro of the depression and anxiety and ADHD and all the psychiatric medications, but I was also homeless for a time. So I had finished graduate school. I had no money left. I went through an ugly breakup and had no place to go. I was literally couch surfing for about a month, 6 weeks, until I was able to work long enough to get enough money to, put things together. I was so poor I had to buy groceries with my mobile gas card. Back then, you couldn't use credit cards at grocery stores. I am aging myself a bit, yes, but you could buy a loaf of bread and a container of orange juice at the mobile mart, right, with your mobile gas card. And I lived like that for a few months as well. So I've been super poor. And I'm very comfortable. I say the principles of understanding your money vibe are what took me from homeless to 7 figures. And I don't say that to be like, oh, look at me. No, I say that to say like, that is God expressing. See, to me, God isn't like some white man in the sky with a beard. God is the life force energy, the vibration of the universe. You and me and love bug on my shoulder. So if you want to bring more money into your life, change your money vibe. It is changing your inner world of belief, emotion, attitude, and thought that will bring you different circumstances, different outcomes, different opportunities. You literally see the world differently. You hear the world differently. I have a bunch of stories that I could tell you about it to highlight this, but I just want to give you a chance to respond, and then let me give you a couple examples.
I am 100% with you. There are days when I wake up with a negative attitude towards money or the stock market, and look at the stock market, it's going down that day. Or
Right.
I have the other attitude, like it's going to be a fantastic day, and then I look at the stock market and it's all green. People don't realize the power of manifestation and the power of thought and the power of increasing your vibration. I always joke with my kids. I started talking to them about vibration, and especially my youngest, who is happy, right? And when you're talking to a young mind, they easily take on a thought, or they're not held back by their constructs they've grown up with because they're so young. So my youngest and my eldest are really good at manifesting, and we started talking about it. And there was one day where they came home and they said, "Mom, when we are driving in the car together, we get no red lights." Right. They said, with the power of both of us manifesting green lights, we drive through every light possible. It was the funniest thing, because I thought, there's their confirmation that they have the power, right? So you can take that with any area of your life, and now we're talking about money. So keep going. This is amazing. And people's attitude and their beliefs about money. This is also something, you were talking about how it changes your relationships with everything in the world. It also affects marriages. The number one cause
divorces,
of divorce is money.
Right. Families, family of origin problems. So divorces, but also when a parent dies, there's an inheritance situation. How often is it that siblings end up not talking to each other for years on end because of fights over money or inheritance? It's a very emotional central topic. Right. So let me give you a concrete example of like how this plays out. So the belief, it's not okay to ask for money, right? So just notice yourself, Sarah, is it okay to ask for money? And I'll bet there's some place that thought constricts or restricts, constricts your energy field, a little bit of like constriction, right? You can feel it, because we know like it's not okay. It's not okay to ask for money. We have all kinds of judgments about that we've inherited from our culture and our society. So many, many years ago, I was a clinician, mental health practitioner. My specialty was mental health and deafness. I'm fluent in American Sign Language. Really fun part of my career. And a colleague of mine was setting up a deaf mental health program. And she knew nothing about deafness. So she called me and asked me this. And then, 3 days later, she called me and asked me that. And then a few days later, she called me and asked me A, B, and C again. And, after 3 or 4, and she, a buddy of mine, no problem. I don't mind helping her out. But after a few calls of that, I just said to her, hey, Brenda, why don't you just hire me to do this for you? Like, I know how to set up programs. I've done clinical management and administration, and I know deafness. Why don't you just hire me to do this? And she's like, oh my God, do you have time? And I just laughed. I was like, I don't know. Do you have money? And so, whatever. She went and checked out things, and I checked out my schedule. That ended up, Sarah, being a 10-year consulting contract for me, where I not only set up one program, I ended up setting up 5 or 6 programs for this organization over those 10 years, both deaf and hearing programs.
Wow.
Now, here's the thing about it. I told a bunch of my friends that story when it first happened, because I was excited, new consulting gig and new organization, new relationships. It was just a cool thing that had happened in my career. And I can't tell you, Sarah, how many people said to me, like, I can't believe you said that. You literally said, why don't you hire me for that? And I was really taken aback. Like, geez, did I do something wrong? Was I not supposed to say that? Was that the wrong thing to do? And I was like, yeah, of course I said that. Why wouldn't I say that? I had the knowledge and the skill, and she had the need. And so I said, why don't you hire me for that? So many people were taken aback. So what was the difference between my just very casually and comfortably saying, hey, why don't you hire me to do that? And those people who were just aghast that I would say that? The difference was beliefs. Is it okay to, quote, ask for money? So when you really start getting underneath how our beliefs about money, what we think and feel about money, affect you. Another concrete example, my cousin, 13, 14 years ago, we have a summer cottage in upstate New York, and it was my great aunt and uncle's, my cousin's parents. And I knew I was going to buy it someday, right? But 13, 14 years ago, my cousin called and said, Jackie, it's time. We're not taking care of Mom's cottage. And, I know you want it. I was unprepared, completely unprepared. We didn't have the money for it. So, again, put yourself in that situation, something that you knew you wanted it your whole life, been in my family 6 generations. And I was like, so what are you going to do? We didn't have the money sitting in the bank for it. And I immediately said, yeah, okay, we'll have to figure it out. And I said, well, my spouse is going to kill me because we don't have the money for this. And of course she didn't. She was wonderfully supportive. So listen to how it played out. That weekend, talked to my cousin on a Wednesday or Thursday. That weekend, college friends of mine who I had not seen in, 10 years, happened to be visiting me that weekend. They have homes in Lake Placid and Saratoga, New York, and they rent out one and move to the other, rent out one and move to the other. So they came to my home here in Massachusetts, and they looked at it and they said, I also have a waterfront home here. They said, you have a lake house in Massachusetts, an hour from Cape Cod, an hour from Boston, an hour from the White Mountains, quintessential central New England location. Rent out this one in the summers and live in that one. So within 48 hours of me saying yes, without knowing how I was going to do it, the answer appeared. That first summer, we got, it was $14,000 that summer to pay my cousin. We got $14,538 of income from renting out our home over the summer. That's money vibe. That is operating from a belief of I don't see it, I don't know, but I'm going to leap. It's operating from a belief of I'm valuable, therefore I can ask, therefore I can put myself out. That it's operating in a belief that life is happening for me, not to me.
Yes.
Right? So that's money vibe. And when you live that way, every time my spouse and I stretch, our son is adopted. And when we went through the international adoption process, it's incredibly expensive. But when we started that process, I got involved in a real estate investing opportunity that brought us more money than we needed to not only pay the adoption fees, but visit him every month during the course of the adoption process. Amazing. And pay for it in cash, no debt. We decided we were going to renovate our home a year after we first bought it. Didn't have the money for it. Within a week of making that decision and hiring a contractor, I got the biggest consulting contract at that time I had ever had. And it paid for the entire renovation. This is what I'm talking about. Story after story after story after story of paying attention to faith rather than fear, belief rather than scarcity, a belief in abundance, belief in possibility, belief in I am one with the creative energy of life. I am the creative energy of life. Therefore, move toward my desire keep my fear out of the way. You see, here's the last thing I'll say about it, Sarah, and then I'll go back to you. The energy of the universe is like Niagara Falls, right? And we're just like at the bottom of it, like receiving this like incredible, expansive energy of the universe. But our energy field, our individual God pod energy field, we, through fear and insecurity and the past and all those beliefs, we're like a garden hose. So we have Niagara Falls of possibility, but we're a garden hose of what we actually bring into our lives. And let's face it, sometimes we even take that garden hose and bend it in two, and life just can't meet us. So I'm saying unkink the garden hose. In fact, throw away the garden hose and look at the infinite field of possibility and potential that life itself is.
Oh, I just love that, Jackie. I could talk to you forever. And the flow of your energy, I don't know about the listeners, but I just have this calmness about me, and it just brings the stories to my life that have happened in this way. And we only have a few minutes left, but real quick, this last home that we bought, we signed the documents to buy this house on the same day that our other house sold. So literally within 24 hours,
Right?
I was signing both papers in my pajamas at 7:30 at night. So there you go.
There you go. That's Money Vibe.
Before we go, please tell everybody about your upcoming summit, which sounds amazing, and where everyone can find you.
It's fantastic. So certainly I want to tell people about the Money Vibe Summit. International speakers, 12 speakers on June 5th. It's a live event on Zoom. So you can register for it on my website. They're beautiful. Thank you for putting that up. JackieWoodside.com, money-vibe-summit, the Money Vibe Summit, where you will have the opportunity to go deeper into these ideas that we're talking about today of how to raise, what is your money vibe, first of all, and then how do you raise your vibration in this domain of money so that you begin experiencing greater ease, greater satisfaction, greater manifestation and creativeness in this whole domain of money. So it is, I think, 11 to 3:30 East Coast time on June 5th. Again, it is a live event. If you register for it, there's an opportunity to have a VIP entrance, and then you can get the replays for the rest of your life if you can't make it on June 5th. So it's a wonderful list of speakers. The speakers that I just met them to put together the summit have changed my life. Two of them are working with my son. One of them is working with me. One of them taught me just a little bit of a principle from her life experience that has just taken my whole life to the next level. I love these people already. So you want to be there. You want to meet them. I'm so excited about it. So the Money Vibe Summit, June 5th, from 11 to 3:30.
Wonderful. I'm going to check it out. And Jackie.
Yeah, I hope you come, Sarah. I'm telling you, these speakers are mind blowing. I thought, I kind of have the corner office on Money Vibe until I met all of these people. And now it's like, wow, they're amazing.
Well, I don't know about you. I can learn a lot from other people in my field as you can learn. And that's why we're here, is to constantly learn and
to learn and grow.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jackie, for joining us today. And thank you, everyone else, for joining us. And if I can help you with your health issues, you can contact me directly through the website, acceleratedhealthproducts.com. I'm happy to put together a protocol just for you. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram under Accelerated Health Products, my YouTube channel, Accelerated Health Radio and TV, all the podcast platforms. And I also do short informational videos called Accelerated Health Bites. So check those out. If you like what you heard today, please hit the subscribe button and share with a few of your friends who may need my help. As you share my channel, it helps me help more people like you and bring more cutting edge guests to this show. You can use coupon W4HC20 for 20% off site-wide at acceleratedhealthproducts.com.
Nice.
Have a great week, and we will see you next Wednesday.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, Jackie.